What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Run the Floor podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm Christian.
I'm the Shills.
I'm O'Sleazy.
You're not Tony this week? I thought it was Tony, bro.
Well, yeah, it really is.
That's crazy. He did that, and then I changed mine too. So
really? Yeah, you did too. Oh my god, I brought out the.
Usually I say it is Tony though. I don't know. I'm gonna switch back. I'm gonna find a nice happy medium. That's really the plan. The long term.
I brought out the happy medium. All right. Yeah, it's me this week instead of Chris or Matt. Thank God. No, I'm playing. They were just talking about.
No, thank God.
Thank God for real. You're absolutely correct.
Fucking bozos.
NBA's in full swing. We're about 3 games in. The Bulls are the 1 seed, so that's how you know it's early in the season. But we're going to be giving our week 1 overreactions. But just a general feel, like how do we feel about the NBA season so far?
I'm excited. I can't speak for the other two. I think we're all on the same page, though, where, there's certain stuff that we looked for. I think that there are certain things that we were right about. I think there's certain stuff we were, absolutely, positively wrong. I can't believe that even, happened. And then I think there's, a few that, we're, pretty sadly, disappointed almost, I feel for a couple of things, at least me in particular. And we could talk about those, as we go along. I'm going to let the other guys say their thing.
We've had 16 40-point games, the most in the history of the league in the first week. We know about stat inflation, but this is off the charts. The season is absolutely cracked out, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm as excited as I've been in a long time, even with my team being abysmal. I love basketball, bro. I love watching Brooklyn and Toronto in an overtime game on a Tuesday night. I love watching, obviously, the powerhouses go at it. I just love the game of basketball, bro, and I love when it's flourishing. I love when everybody's just hooping. Christian said, how many 40-point games did you say? 16? 14?
Man.
16 40-point games?
That's a crazy
I love it.
number.
Put the ball in the bucket. I don't care about the defense. Put it in the bucket.
Aaron Gordon would have the most efficient 50 ball of all time.
He did.
And then followed by Austin Reeves. Who would have thought?
Right.
Yeah.
Me.
Who would have thought that Luka? Who would have thought that Luka would be the one to keep the Lakers from having 2 back-to-back 50-point games?
Right.
By missing by getting 49. Luka was the one to not get
all
it.
because he missed the free throw, bro.
All because he missed the free throw.
Oh my God, man.
He had Reeves sweating at the free throw line.
Insane. Oh, it's not me.
All
this
right.
time.
Well,
it's not me this time.
This is different.
This is different. Well, we could kind of honestly, we could kind of run with it.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, I don't even know what just happened. I swear to God, I moved my mouse. Next thing I knew, I was gone.
All right, that'll that's for post production. They'll edit that out.
Yeah, that's Chris's problem.
Okay. So you figure that out, please.
No, but the NBA's been super fun, man. It's great. It's nice having sports on at night, except for baseball at 3 in the morning. I don't know if anyone was up for that, but it's cool having sports on.
I did stay up.
I did. I respect you.
I watched part of it.
I'm not a baseball guy, but I saw that they were saying something historic was happening. So right after that Lakers game ended, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
As a longtime Yankee fan, in solidarity, I try not to watch other people's stuff, but it just seemed so crazy, to witness something crazy like that, historical. That game was long as hell. Of course, Freddie Freeman would be the one to put it away. Of course, Freddie. Of course, bro.
Yeah, of course, it was Freddie.
Yeah,
2 walk-offs in 2 straight World Series. That's something, man.
That's
of course,
right.
All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes here. These are our overreactions after week 1 of the NBA season. Let's see, Christian, why don't you get us started, man? What do you got for us today?
I'm gonna go with the Lakers because a lot is going on right now with the Luka injury, the decimated by injury, and a big overreaction right now is: are the Lakers in trouble? And I'm here to say no. It's not ideal to be fighting an uphill battle this early in the season. We're in game 4 of the season, and they got 6 rotation guys out due to injury. However, what we have seen thus far brings me back to my X factors coming into the year, which was, what does Luka look like? Skinny Luka. What about the Scorched Earth campaign MVP run we think he's going to go on? Well, in the first 2 games, I pretty much got my answer of what that's going to look like. And again, his injury is not too worrisome. It's just a week. Austin Reeves takes another leap. All-star Austin Reeves, maybe. I'm looking at that. Marcus Smart, that difference maker, that defensive tenacity, that guy that's getting on the ground, hustling for loose balls, like difference maker. I'm not too worried about the Lakers. I saw enough individually out of the question marks, and I didn't even mention DeAndre Ayton, who outplayed Rudy Gobert and Domantas Sabonis in back-to-back games. That means something to me when I was dealing with Jackson Hayes last year. Okay? And I've said this before. DeAndre Ayton on his worst day is better than Jackson Hayes on his best day. Absolutely. Period. And Ayton, even last night in the loss to Portland, the pick and roll game with Reeves and him, it's making me think about what is it going to look like with more volume with Luka if it looks that good with Reeves. And the pick and pop. So, like, man, what I've seen individually from the question marks, I'm fine with it. Ideally, Luka gets back in a week. The Lakers start gaining some momentum, and then you implement LeBron back. I do think the Lakers will be fine in the loaded West.
Yeah, I think you're kind of seeing what you want to see. I think it's good that Ayton's getting reps with Reeves too, because even when LeBron and Luka are there, they'll be probably running the second unit, I imagine. So that's good to see. What do you guys think?
Honestly, DeAndre Ayton, low-key, I don't want to say he shocked me because I wasn't that, like, thrown off. Like, I wasn't off the DeAndre Ayton wagon, so to speak, but I also wasn't the guy, like, this is the guy who's going to take the Lakers over the top. I thought he was going to be solid and going to be productive, as he usually is. That I think he was going to be this solid, this productive, this early. Granted, it's only 4 games. There's a lot of basketball to be played. They still know Bron, still barely Luka, still barely Austin Reeves. Once everybody gets healthy, once the meat and potatoes, as Tom will call it, of the season really get graded, that's when I'll start to give my evaluation on DeAndre Ayton. But so far, it's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't wanna, jump the gun either. And on like DeAndre Ayton or like, but at the same time, like, I will say that as of right now, it's kind of hard to be critical of like their shortcomings, because you can kind of like directly attribute that to, they don't have their 2 best players, right? So it's like, it's hard to kind of like really be too critical of a team when they're in that situation. You can also draw a comparison to like other teams where, like, when they don't have their 2 best players, they probably start the season 0-4. They win 1 game and they're 2-2, and their wins were like hard fought. And like, you don't want to sweep their wins under the rug like they're beating bum teams. I feel like the Trailblazers compete a lot. They have a very tough roster, tough personnel. And for Reeves to go out there and do that against a really good defensive roster, by the way, like regardless of what you might think about where they are offensively in terms of their execution, like being able to do that while being guarded by Tumani and Matisse and whoever, like basically anybody he like Reeves saw like was a good defender last night, and like still like performed like that. Like, I can't really be too critical of like, too much stuff with that in mind.
And yeah, agreed. I mean, they for the longest time they like couldn't beat the Kings in the regular season, right?
That's very true. Yeah.
Right. To get one on the Kings with no Luka, no LeBron, maybe it is a sign that the tide is turning a little bit.
I mean, any win when you don't have your best player, let alone your 2 best players, is like a huge win, especially in the West. Right. And like the last thing with the Lakers right now is, number one, better now than later, because I don't want to have to be fighting that uphill battle. And the Lakers, this has been a common denominator every year. It's like they get behind the 8 ball, and then at the end of the season, they have to go pedal to the metal, and then they have no gas left in the playoffs. So I'd rather it happen now. And also, their schedule is pretty light to start the year going forward. Now, they have Minnesota tomorrow, but no Anthony Edwards. So can they get one there? They have the Grizzlies coming up, the Heat, the Blazers. Obviously, we'll talk a lot about the Spurs, the Hawks, the Hornets, the Pels, the Bucks, the Jazz twice. So, like, these aren't teams that you're like, oh, my goodness, like, they have no shot. And by then, hopefully, we'll have Luka back within the next couple of games. So I think they'll weather this early storm, albeit shocking how decimated they are this early. But I'm not overreacting in this overreaction to the masses here. I think the Lakers will be okay.
All right. Yeah. I think so, too. Shields, what do you got for me?
There's two teams in particular I want to talk about, and it's really, I think they're tied together. Really, like, because of like what their whole entire like stigma against both of them has been, and that's the Warriors and Minnesota. Now, the biggest thing about the Warriors in Minnesota is that, you know, they're basically one-person teams. You know, that's what everybody's kind of like been calling them. They're not really, their second option is washed, or their second option is not really that guy. Like, you know, they haven't really shown, like, do they have anything left in the tank? And the rest of the roster is just flawed. For Minnesota, it's lack of shooting, lack of ball handlers, and for the Warriors, it's lack of bigs, which is why I feel like they go together, because like what one team has, the other team doesn't have. That's why I kind of like put them together. Yeah. And what's really impressed me as far as like the overreactions, you look at the Warriors, how good they've played because of how Jimmy's been playing, right? And then Minnesota, they're not winning, but they haven't looked terrible because of how good Randall's been playing. So like the overreaction, like for me, is really like these second options that everybody's like, are you consistent? Do you still have something? So far showing you they have something to offer. Like Jimmy looked absolutely positively great that first game. Like you to make a 50-point, 9 for 10 from 3-point game look like be a loss. Like that is crazy on Steph's part, because yes, he dropped 40, but you can't sweep Jimmy's performance under the rug either. He's been super consistent. He's been getting to the line. Like they made a bet at the beginning of the season that Jimmy was gonna shoot better from the free throw line than Steph. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Steph's been shooting 90% from the line for years, but Jimmy's looking good. Like all of his shots look like good decisions. Like the whole roster as a whole is like kind of like playing together, even with Draymond trolling and being crazy, like he did last night with the Grizzlies. Like it's just still a very together roster. Same thing with Minnesota. I like what I'm seeing from Randall. I'm seeing good decision making. He's still doing that point forward role. Like, so the overreaction about these two teams at the beginning about, oh, they're flawed and they're one-dimensional teams where like if the star player doesn't show up, like they don't have anybody. I'm calling like, yo, tone down with that, because like their second options are offering you something and they're showing you that to start the year, and we'll see how much they build or how high they go, especially like Randall with Ant being out already to start the season a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I agree with damn near everything you said, more or less on the Warriors part. I think Jimmy has looked phenomenal, so to speak. Even against the Grizzlies last night, what he had 25 and 5, and it was a +8. Like I didn't watch most of the game because it was essentially a blowout. It's the Grizzlies. But when he did play, he looked essentially like the Jimmy you want, the Jimmy you expected, the Jimmy he's supposed to be, the Jimmy Butler we all know and love. I think it's more about can it just sustain for a very long 82-game season. We know the Warriors, it's the running joke, they're a retirement home. We know that. Mm-hmm. It's more or less we know what they can do. Can they just get there? And once they get there, it's not a lot of teams that want to see the Warriors. It's not a lot of teams that want to get matched up with the Warriors. If they make it to the play-in, they got to play in first round. There's not a lot of teams that want to do that. I think, and in terms of Minnesota, I had Julius Randle for my X factor, and he's low-key succeeded every expectation I had, even with it only being 4 games, because I'm low-key a Julius Randle hater.
Low-key? I've been in wars with you.
Okay,
Julius Randle hate.
I'm a Julius Randle hater.
You are right.
And it was more or less a Nick thing than it was a Julius Randle thing.
I was gonna say low-key me too, but it's okay.
But now it's like I'm starting to really, I don't want to say fall in love, but I'm starting to really grasp the understanding of how he plays and why he plays that way, because there's not a lot of people who like that type of physicality that he brings on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. It kind of frustrates people. It catches them off guard when he's running down the court. The first thing he do, elbow post up, and he's automatically just bringing contact, initiating contact. And the thing I love about it is that Ant loves that.
Yeah.
That does nothing but bring Ant's confidence up. Now he's coming down shooting 35-footers, talking crazy, throwing up whoever, what kind of signs. And you know, once Ant's electrified, it fills out the whole team. And I just, again, same with the Warriors. Can it just be sustainable? It's an overreaction for a reason. I understand. they just got to sustain it, bro. And I think it looks good so far.
So first thing, this is like a common trend with Golden State. They always start the season hot, and then something happens, and they end up flatlining. And like a couple years ago, they were so hot, and they were 500 mid-season. They stayed 500 and all of that. But I was pretty low on Golden State coming into this year, and it's early. But there's a guy that nobody mentioned that was like the biggest question mark for the Warriors in the summer, Jonathan Kuminga. We didn't know what role he was going to. We didn't know if he was going to be on the team coming into the season because they waited so long. Are they going to pay him? Are they going to trade him? Whatever. Well, he's averaging 18 a game in 31 minutes. And like the biggest question mark with Kuminga has been, is he the right fit with the way the Warriors play? Their system of this pace and space and ball movement. He seems like a ball stopper. He's not the highest of IQ players amongst the guys who are on the team now with Horford and Steph and Draymond, really high IQ guys, and Jimmy. But he has flourished thus far this season, and he gives them that boost of two-way athleticism that they've lacked in previous years. So, like, if this holds with Kuminga actually being able to be a part of their system as opposed to being an outcast, which he's been, that changes a lot for me when it comes to Golden State. And lastly with them, they have a lineup that they could put out there of 5 guys that are so high IQ that I don't know if there's another team in the league outside of, obviously, a LeBron, Luka spearheaded, all of that, like, that can match that kind of basketball IQ between Steph, Draymond, Al Horford, Jimmy, and then a guy like Pods at the 2 or a Gary Payton. Like, they could switch everything. They can space the floor. They can defend. And, like, running Steph of all those actions, it's like no one's ever been able to stop that. But now you got guys that you can put the ball in their hands and they can make a play. Okay, when people blitz Steph and you got to give it Draymond in the short roll, now it's there's Jimmy and that's Horford. Those guys can also get the ball and make something happen. So, like, I was pretty low on Golden State coming in. It is early, and I know the trend that normally happens with them, but I've kind of changed my tune, and I think they're going to be pretty dangerous come playoff time. But as you said, can this sustain? And can they get there in one piece because they are older? But barring health, just like any team, I do think they are way scarier than I thought coming in.
Which is why I think Kuminga is so important for them because, like you said, they're old. So having a guy like Kuminga who could take a scoring night off or 2-3 times a week, so Steph doesn't have to go nuclear, Jimmy doesn't have to go nuclear. Obviously, Draymond is going to be Draymond, and Al isn't going to have to shoot 8 threes a game. It's really important that Pods, Moses Moody, and Kuminga all really kind of sustain also with what the core guys are doing, which is I think is way more important than anything Jimmy Butler's doing personally.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with what you just said about Kuminga. If he can be an actual – because that was my biggest thing with the Warriors was, all right, you have Steph who is going to give you 25, 30 a night. We know what Steph Curry will do. Jimmy Butler hasn't taken on much of the scoring role in these past few years, especially in the regular season. He kind of goes through, wait till the playoffs, and he's who he is. So on a night-to-night basis, who's going to step up for you and put the ball in their hands, go get a bucket? And if Kuminga can do that, again, sustain this level, and maybe as he gets more comfortable in the offense and fits better with the team, takes even another step, you're getting into 20, 22 points per game. I think that'd be awesome for them. Sustainability, of course, is the question because they are such an old roster. I think they're like the oldest roster of all time or something like that.
The Clippers,
right?
The Clippers this year, I think, is the oldest roster of all time.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, if they can hang on, and then the Timberwolves, like, if Ant didn't get hurt, my overreaction was gonna be that he's the MVP because he was playing like that well for the past couple of games, man. He was like he really was. He was lighting it up.
Overreaction.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an overreaction, but that's the name of the game. For them, Randall. I mean, I've seen a lot of Julius Randle hoops over the years. I've seen a lot,
unfortunately.
And I agree with you. Like when he's on, it's fun to watch. It's energizing. Like that brand of basketball, that physicality, it lights a fire under the rest of the team. Because you feel like you could run through a wall now. You see that guy doing it, and then Ant, like you said, once he gets going, he gets the energy up.
But when it's low, it's really low.
When it's bad, it's really bad. And
it's like bottom 15 player ever I've ever seen with my eyes.
Right, and when Julius Randle isn't hitting his shots, he stops trying. He settles for bad shots. He stops playing defense.
It's his mental, bro. Like once he makes a mistake, or like if he gets too many fouls, or if it's an offensive foul and missed too many free throws, it's like it's a switch in his head. It's like I don't even want to be here anymore.
I will say in Minnesota though, the good thing about Minnesota, a lot of people view it as like their weakness, but I actually think it's their strength. They set up a team where you're encouraging Randall to be the best version of himself day in and day out. Because think about it, like Ant is really the only other person on that roster where you could say, yo, you know what? The ball shouldn't even be in my hands. You have it, right? Yep. Otherwise, the ball's in his hands. Now you have Gobert there. You have McDaniels there. Like, is he going to be the kind of person that's going to ball hog? Or is he going to be the kind of guy that creates for people, takes advantage, goes into like his mid post and passes out from like the elbow, you know, basically running like a Horns offense or something like that? Like, are you going to be that type of guy? And he's answered the call. Like, since like the second half of last year, he's answered the call to be that kind of guy. And like honestly, like he's mitigating. I know everybody's saying Minnesota needs an actual point guard, need another ball handler. What I'm seeing from him right now, like he's mitigating the necessity of you getting some high level guy, and really all they need is like a secondary guy to like pop up. Like I honestly have no doubt that like if you started to put Rob Dillingham in the rotation right now, by the end of this season, you see what he has, or by trade deadline, you see what you have with him. You trade for somebody else, like something like mid-level, and then you're good to go. Like, that's how confident I am. If Randall can keep this up from now until February, they are a team like the Warriors. You don't want to see them. Certain teams.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Dante's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I don't think Minnesota gets enough credit. Like a couple of years ago, they went to the conference finals with Cat, and then they trade Cat for Randall, and then they end up at the conference finals again. Like, that's not easy to do, to have like that big of a piece change on your team and you still have the same level of success. But I think ultimately, when it comes down to Minnesota, it's like whatever they do in the regular season, they level up their athleticism. They leverage their athleticism so well in the playoffs. We saw the Lakers have no answer for it. We saw Denver have no answer for it. Now, they met their match in Oklahoma City last year, and we know what Luka did the year prior. But I am looking at them in the playoffs. That's where the question, like, can they leverage their athleticism and be able to have the offensive output that they're going to need to win at a higher level? That's been the question mark for them. Anthony Edwards, I'm not too worried. 2 weeks, a week, they keep changing it. Like, he'll be back. He'll be fine. Randall has been impressive, and he's coming off what clearly was his best playoff run ever. Now, the bar was very low because of all the runs he had in New York, as you know, but he was really impressive until the conference finals. I'm looking at, are they going to have enough creation outside of Anthony Edwards? Like you talk about, can DiVincenzo be that guy? Do they start playing more? They got Bones Highland. Mike Conley's old. It's like there's a lot of question marks there. So Terrence Shannon also, people are really high on him. Another athlete. So like they have so many athletes. Can they take that next step in the playoffs when it matters most? They're probably going to win 50 games this year again, like most of these teams are. But again, can you ratchet it up when it matters and take that next step?
I completely agree. That was the point I was going to make. Is if Ant is out for extended time, week, 2 weeks, whatever, they're going to have to play other guards and see what you get out of them. I mean, Shannon was drafted to be a shot creator for them off the bench, so you see what you can get there. And Naz Reid really hasn't gotten going either, so we know he could be 6th man of the year type of guy. So yeah, I think it's really interesting with the Timberwolves. So DeShields, it was your take. Who are you more confident in to sustain all this, the Wolves or the Warriors?
Long term, I would say I am more confident in the Wolves. That's just like they're just the better recipe in my opinion. The safer bet. As far as like a higher ceiling, like they can go further than the Warriors can. Like just as currently constructed, right? But we've seen what Steph does alone. We've seen what Jimmy does alone. If there is even remotely a possibility that like a playoff Jimmy and a playoff Steph can occur at the exact same time, it doesn't matter who their supporting cast is. That's a team that can go to the finals. They have beaten teams that were stacked, each of them.
I agree.
Like they had no business beating, that they were bet like heavily against and still managed to go. Now, granted, like, yeah, you can say that, Steph had his Warriors team set up for him and Jimmy had Bam. Like, yeah, I get that. But like still they had no business going there. Those are two guys that can literally backpack you to the finals, right? If they even remotely have that in them, that negates anything I just said. But right now, I like Minnesota. I really like Minnesota for real.
What do you guys think?
I'm probably low-key gonna pick Minnesota too, just because I'm not the type of guy that's gonna bet against Steph, Dre, and Jimmy. In this case, I am, but it's just like DeShio said, the recipe, it's better in terms of the Minnesota side, like with them basically being younger, obviously not having a lot of shot creation at the guard position, obviously. But I think what they have is enough. To whereas I think the Warriors not having a big problem is way worse than the Timberwolves not having a lead guard. And personally, like it kind of evens out. How we were talking before, it kind of evens out. Like what one team has, the other does. But I think I'm more confident in the Timberwolves recipe than I am the Warriors.
I'm not mad at that because again, the proof of concept is there with Minnesota. We just saw them do it twice with two different teams, like I said. I do think I'll zag here, though, and say Golden State. There's many that believe that, and again, I don't necessarily believe this, but many believe that Golden State would have beat Minnesota last year had Steph not got hurt. They were playing them well. They were a pretty good matchup with them in the regular season. The experience on Golden State's side, I know they're older, but in the playoffs, it's about experience. Have you been there? And we talked about it last week, like, it really comes down to those last few minutes. Who's going to execute? Like the margins are so small in the playoffs. It comes down to, can I get to my stuff more effectively and efficiently than you can at the end of the game? And I've spent so many battles with Steph, and now they have Jimmy and Horford. I know you know a lot about Horford, obviously. I really think they're so dangerous that they can get there in one piece. I do think Golden State could probably go further than Minnesota this year. And again, there are question marks. They lost Alexander Walker. We don't really know who's filling that void yet. It is very early. We'll see. But where we stand right now, what I've seen from Golden State, I'd probably pick them over Minnesota.
Yeah, I think I agree. I like the experience of Golden State. I also think Minnesota doesn't really have a lot of guys that can guard outside of, they have Ant and Jaden who are great, but so I want to see how that fills out. And then the
defensive player of the year.
Who?
Rudy.
I'll say, well, I meant guard. Like, you know what I mean? Rudy sucks. Come on. We know,
Dante can guard.
We know what's gonna.
Yeah.
Dante can guard.
And also,
sure.
also like just a quick tidbit about Rudy. They designed their defensive scheme where they don't necessarily need people.
Where they don't
who
have
are
to guard. Just
high IQ guards. You just need to be.
Them.
You need to funnel them.
Fair enough.
Aggressive, athletic, lengthy players who, like, if you beat me, that's fine as long as you go this way because like he's got it.
Like,
Like,
helps out is that way, so you need to go that way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Sleazy, what do you got? Overreaction.
My overreaction is the Boston Celtics are not gonna be that bad. Now, in terms of record, they might be. But from what I've seen from the rest of the East, it might not matter. And like I'm personally, it's low-key just Detroit. Like Detroit's really, really bad. Like the roster construction is really bad. I'm not really sold on Cleveland yet. Obviously, Cleveland and New York are gonna be the top two teams. Not really two. I'm not looking for a top 2 seed. I'm not looking for a top 5 seed. I'm looking for 7, 8.
Are you
maybe a play-in?
Why?
I don't know why you want that. We spoke about this.
We talked about this last time.
I know.
It's like we have no choice. The East is so bad. We have no choice but to be.
You do have a choice.
Obviously, yes, we do have a choice. Yes.
Come back and you're a superpower next year.
You definitely do have
a choice.
But the East is so bad that even if we choose to lose, if everybody else keeps losing, somebody got to make it.
I get that part of it.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. In
Unless
terms
you
of
do
like
it
how we were
purposefully
saying like they're not even gonna make a play-in. I'm fully out of the window on that. We're definitely gonna make a plan.
Really?
I don't want us to be Washington bad. I don't want us to be Charlotte bad.
To be fair, I didn't think that you were.
You didn't want to be in the play-in.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes,
I didn't think you. I didn't think you were going to be Washington bad.
You thought we were going to be Atlanta, Chicago, Miami Heat playing bad.
Yes, I did. I did think that.
So if we're that low, we might as well go lower.
But
I don't think we're gonna be that bad, bro.
You're right. You didn't want to be in the play-in. You're not. You're the 13th seed. You're not in the play-in. Okay.
Right. All right.
I mean, no. I think there's
a lot of ball left. There's a lot of ball
left. I think there's going to come a point in the year where Boston's like, we own our pick, and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? We're not going to win anything this year. What does a play-in do for Boston? Like I said, Boston plays for titles. If you have to take the gap year to get back to that stage, you have to do that. You still have two guys that are a great dynamic duo, a bunch of great role players. I know you lost Holiday and KP and Horford, but Boston always ends up getting guys. They always find a way to get guys in trade. It's always a fleece somehow what Brad Stevens is able to do.
Yep.
So again, as a fan, it's hard to stomach a lost season, but going forward, I really think it'll bode well, and you ultimately like what ends up happening of it.
Like
I
you might get blessed with like random, like you might get blessed with a random Jaylen Brown injury that's not that bad, but like they can just milk it, and then he can just sit for longer.
Yeah, he's got to go get a hair transplant.
That's good. That's good.
Once I knew my overreaction was the Celtics, I knew a Jaylen Brown trade was coming. So.
Oh, bro. He embraced it though. You saw him on Twitter today or yesterday, whatever it was.
No, I think he live streams now, which is why I think we are ultimately going to be that bad. Because once players start doing podcasts and shit during the season, they just play ass.
That's just no. That's exclusively one person. Everybody else who doesn't podcast is decent or doesn't get that bad. Finals, It is exclusively him that they will suck.
It's when you go to a new team and then wear your own jersey on your new podcast.
Exactly.
No,
it's when you say that injuries shouldn't be used to evaluate talent.
If the Celtics eventually aren't gonna, like you said, Christian, lean into the fact that they have their own pick and just call it, like, why is Keita their starting center? Why do they have Boucher and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's all we got.
But like, no other move was made. Like Christian said, like Brad Stevens
had 6 threes last night.
Like Christian said, Brad Stevens just pulls these moves out of his ass and goes and gets like good players. He could have went and got a quality center.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's coming. The tank is coming.
I didn't think of it that way.
And they're out of the second apron now. Like that was the other key. That's why
that was essentially why everybody left.
Right.
Yes, that he did that so he had flexibility going into the year, saying, I'm pretty sure they have the mentality of like they know this season is a lost season, just like Indiana knows the season's a lost season.
They know.
Yes, of course they do.
That.
I think in the beginning you hold out like
no, they do it for the fans. They want the fans to show up for the first 41.
They do it for people like me.
Exactly, like me. Because you're going to tune in and be like, wait, this will be cool. Imagine we start off 12-5. Like that's cool, right? Well, they're 1-3. Their schedule is not that kind, right? So. But they are in the East, so you might accidentally, like, if you accidentally win some games, because what happens is
he might trip and fall into an 8 seed.
Because, like, how do you tell young guys when they put the bench guys on lost seasons, the bench guys play, they tell them to go lose? Normally they lose on their own because they don't have experience, but sometimes they might fall into wins, and it's like, wait, we're 2 games out of the 10 seed with 4 games to go. So it's not, again, a play-in maybe at tail end of it. You got to play in, the fans show up. It's a fun, you clap your hands and you get the thank you fans graphic and you're into the summer. So,
yeah, I mean, we saw Adam Silver gave the Spurs Wemby. He gave Cooper Flagg to the Mavericks. Like, do you really honestly think that if you guys are the 12 seed, you're not going to get the number 1 pick or at least the top 3? 100% this was going to happen.
I firmly believe.
You might do it with the 9 seed.
I mean, to be fair, they did that for the Celtics 3 times in a row. I don't know if they'll do that again.
The Mavericks had a literal less than 2% chance to get that fucking pick.
You do, but you don't. Come on.
No, we're gonna get that lucky.
The only reason why you can say that
chance.
is because you got lucky 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. There's no way that, like, I know that they were washed, but still, Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, and Garnett are not supposed to be that bad where they net you 3 lottery top 3 picks 3 years in a row. Like you already got lucky. So maybe you might not get lucky this time, but like still, like losing is the best course of action. Like Tom said, like
no, it's not.
You could have gotten a center. There were centers on the market. I'm sure if you picked up the phone and said, "Yo, Brook Lopez, you know, we're still trying to win over here." Like, you think he's not? Of course he's joined.
He said next.
I mean, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
like the Brook Lopez is of like the free agency window. Like, if you picked up the phone, or Miles Turner, like you had been projected to get Miles Turner since like I was in high school, and you never got Miles Turner.
Yeah. True.
Now he's a fucking buck.
I love that. Miles Turner has been the king of the trade deadline for how many years? And then when he actually left and went somewhere else, everyone was shocked. Like, they couldn't believe it. And he went to the Bucks. It's so funny.
And the bottom line with Boston is you've already done the hard part. You've won. You've won with the core. True. Like, that's the hardest thing to do. No team has gone back-to-back in the last 7 or 8 years. Like, if I'm Boston, obviously, you don't just say, all right, we won with this core. Let's wait. Like, no, you're going to try to win every year as a franchise that. But, like, right now, it's just not happening. So regroup this summer. Go for it. Tatum, Brown, White. Next year, we'll see what happens. Especially, it's the East. It's not the West. The West is like, you can have a championship caliber team and not even sniff a conference finals if the ball doesn't bounce your way. That's how small the margins are. So in the East, you should be fine going forward.
And Giannis might pack it up, and if he's not a Knick, who knows? He might go to the West. And
please, I told him, please, God, no. God, no.
No.
Please.
Terrible.
We don't need that in the West.
Imagine he goes to the Warriors.
Stop it.
So, Tom, what's your overreaction?
Speaking of that brutal Western Conference, my overreaction, I don't even know if it's an overreaction. It might just be my genuine reaction, is that Victor Wembanyama is already the best player in the NBA. This guy is averaging 31 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 assists on 60% shooting. He has 18 blocks through 4 games, and nobody else in the league has more than 7. They're 4-0, and I just think as much as we all expect this from Wemby, it still kind of came out of nowhere. He can beat you in any way, and it's just insane. Like, the fluidity that he dribbles with and the way he moves at that size, we've said all his whole career, even as a prospect, like, it's just not normal. It's out of this world. And his shot diet's been a lot better this year. And I've never seen a guy that blocks a shot or gets a stop on defense and then immediately go up the court and do something crazy on offense and hit a step back 3 or something like that. Like, he does it every time he blocks a shot. It's going to turn into a highlight. So I think Victor Wembanyama is in that conversation. I mean, we all know Jokic is the best player in the world because he's been doing this for as long as he has. SGA, the MVP, no arguments there. You can make the argument that Wemby is as impactful on defense as Jokic is on offense. I mean, when this guy is on the court versus when he's off, it's night and day difference with the Spurs. And you see the intimidation. You feel the intimidation when people are trying to drive to the basket. They will not go up on Wemby. And then on offense, he's probably better on offense than Jokic is on defense. So, like, talent for talent, it's there. It's just Jokic, obviously 3 MVPs, champion. He's been doing it for longer. So we'll wait and see. And then if it doesn't translate to the playoffs, how many wins do they get with Wemby? So, but man, what a start it has been for Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah. Victor has started the season really, really well. All right. So I'm gonna just rip the Band-Aid off. I'm not gonna lie. I am one of those people that, like,
you're a Wemby hater.
I'm not a Wemby hater, but I'm not a Glazer, right? But just being objective, he's been really, really impressive.
Come around eventually.
He's been really impressive, but, like, I gotta say, I'm equally as impressed, if not more impressed. Like, look at what Giannis and Jokic are doing. Look at what SGA is doing. I think, like, granted, Wemby has made a very big case for being top 10. If he wasn't in your top 10 last year, he definitely will be in your top 10 to 5 at the end of this one, right? But best is too early. I love, like best is too early.
Is he not in your top 10?
He had to be top. He had to be top 6.
ESPN had him ranked top in the ESPN top 100. They had him ranked 7 over Bron.
Last year,
That's probably right.
Last year, I didn't officially have him in because he didn't finish. As far as, like, an overall player, he was probably somewhere in, like, the 10 to 12 range. Mm-hmm. I didn't have him over Bron. Bron is a hard player to evaluate for me because his his value is qualitative, not quantitative at this point in his career. Well, so right now you're basically saying,
hold on. LeBron just played 2 seasons of 70 games. We talked about this.
No, I know. Like the statistics are there, but
he's been as available as any superstar in the league. Let's be clear about that.
No, ability is availability.
He is available.
I went at you with that before. LeBron has been as available as any superstar in this league. So
no, I wasn't even gonna say availability. I was gonna say like just statistically, like when you compare his numbers. I'm just saying
second team All NBA.
When you compare his numbers to other people, right? It's not as crazy a gap favoring him as it used to be. But I know from a qualitative standpoint, he's light years ahead of a number of people that might statistically be better.
His stats don't jump off the page anymore. His stats don't jump off the page.
His stats don't jump off the page.
45.
LeBron was only one of 2 players in the league last year to average 24 and 8, him and Jokic. But besides that, the stats don't jump off the page.
I was going to say, they don't until you realize he's 41. Then they kind of do jump off the page.
Yeah.
But again, he's not getting sympathy All-NBAs. That doesn't exist. You know, you might get sympathy all-stars at the end of the year. We've seen that happen to a couple guys, Dwayne Wade, Kobe, things of that nature. Yeah. No, LeBron's an all-NBA player still until proven otherwise. But go ahead.
100%. No, you sure. You're right.
Good.
Oh, yeah. So, So as far as just like Wemby, right? Very impressive defensively. The offensive creativity is definitely been there. You know, he's gotten he's really showing his moves, like as far as like he's added to his post bag a little bit, which I would say I feel like most people would say that was like his weakness. He wasn't really much of like a post person. His post footwork and just maneuvering whenever he is down there looks graceful, to say the least.
Shout out to Olajuwon. Getting that boy in the gym.
Yeah, graceful to say the least. But the shooting and movement is still there.
You can already see it that he was in the gym with Hakeem.
Yeah, it's insane how since Hakeem has been in the NBA, we're talking how many guys he's trained, like Kobe, LeBron, everyone, they all go to Hakeem to learn how to do football.
And then they have the most insane season ever following that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So Wemby top 5.
Props to
him.
not
Wemby.
Now I'm not ready to put him 1 yet.
Yeah.
He's in terms of my vibe for Wemby is off the charts. On a certain day, I will walk out of the house and saying Wemby's the best player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'd had to reel it back in a little bit because Jokic had 45, 25, and 25.
Yeah. Right.
So then I got to remember that as good as he is, there's still another step to be taken.
100%.
This isn't the best version. As crazy as it sounds, this isn't the best version of him that we're going to see. He's only going to get better. His shot diet is only going to get better. His defensive stats are only going to get better. Speaking of defensive stats, the lowest opponent field goal percentage as the closest defender this season with minimum 35 field goals attempted defended, Wemby has a 29.7%. The next highest is Anthony Simons with 31%. So that's that's telling you, hey, I can get to the rim anytime I want to get a layup. Oh, Wemby's down there.
Yep.
Oh, hey, we got Wemby on a switch. I don't want this anymore. Here, you take it.
Mm-hmm.
The kid, like you said, the intimidation factor is ridiculous. It's low key on offense too. When they're running sets and they're running him off down screens, they're running him off DHOs with Dylan Harper and Steph Castle. They don't know what to do. Even when you play good defense, he's just taller than you. His arms are longer. His hands are huge. There's no such thing as good defense. You just have to hope he miss.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
That first game of the year that Wemby played against Dallas, we were talking a lot about Dallas has one of the best front courts in the league. They're going to be this defensive team. And he did that against them. There's certain moments in guys' career where you look at and say, well, that was the moment right there. I'll take it to LeBron, of course, but the 48 special LeBron had in Detroit in 2007.
Yep.
That's why I think he stamped his flag as I'm here. I'm that guy. I'm the best player in the world.
Yep.
I think we had a moment like that in Dallas for Wemby. Now, Jokic is the best player in the world. He is, until someone takes that from him. But I think if Wemby keeps this up, I think at season's end, we might be able to have real discussions as to if he took that flag from Jokic. So it's not just the defense. His shot diet, you touched on it this year, it went from 18 feet last year to, I believe, like it's 9 feet. He cut it in half now. There was so much being said about he's got to get closer to the rim. He would settle so much the first 2 years. He's got to get closer to the rim. He's 7'7". What are you doing out there? And it's like he's capable of that. But him putting it all together, this 21 years old, this is like the worst he's ever going to be, probably still going. Like, I can't fathom what this looks like. And this is why when he came in, he was labeled transcendent generational. Not every guy gets that label. And I think the sky is the limit for him. He truly has greatest of all time potential. And we can't say that about many guys. To get in that room, in my opinion, there's 3 guys in the GOAT room that all have an argument. It's LeBron, MJ, and Kareem. Those are the 3 guys. All 3 of those guys are guys at the time of them playing. We had never seen that before. Wemby's that guy. And I don't think, and those are guys that you haven't seen before and you may never see again. He's also that guy. I don't think we're going to have 7, 8 unicorns running around the league. I just don't think that's realistic. So the question for Wemby going forward will be, can he buck the trend of guys his size having their careers derailed by injury? That's the biggest thing for him. Because if he's healthy, there is nothing anybody can do. What he did to Anthony Davis, is he like the best Wemby defender in the league outside of maybe what, Giannis? Like, what do you do if Anthony Davis can't stop that? Wemby, in terms of best in the world, there's going to be a real conversation throughout this season and beyond.
I've never seen a great defender, look more helpless than Anthony Davis at times. Like, a guy play the best possible defense he ever could. I mean, you say about every time they played the Nuggets.
He just turned around and looked at the rim and the ball was going through it. And he's like, he's looking at J Kidd and D Lively like, bro, what do I do?
It's the same thing every time they played the Nuggets when he was with the Lakers, and he'd guard Jokic perfect for 22 seconds, and then Jokic chucks up a 3 behind his head and nothing but net. And it's like, what do you do?
So one thing that I do want to point out, the thing about Wemby, like Sleazy already basically said this, his length is like the most dangerous thing about him. Like the majority of centers that you can think of, whether they're good defenders or not, they all have a decent amount of length or an abnormally, like unusually like great length and wingspan for their height, right? Wemby sets a whole new stratosphere for that. Like you think of any good defensive big, like AD, they said like sometimes they joke about his height. Sometimes he's like 6'9", other times he's like 6'11". Mm-hmm. I think he's somewhere in between. But one thing that's not like questioned is his wingspan. Dude has like a 7'4", 7'5" wingspan, right? Guys like Jarrett Allen, like Mobley, they're all in that 7'3" to 7'5" wingspan length. That's the staple for like all great defenders that you've seen play in the past couple of years. Dwight Howard, 6'10", 7'5" wingspan. Wemby is 7'4".
The only exception to that is Draymond.
The only exception to that rule would be Draymond. But then Draymond,
the rule. Yeah.
But Draymond and Bam also, like for guys who are like 6'6" to 6'8", to have like a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan, it's still kind of like it's not that crazy, but it's still really good, right? And then those two are like uniquely smart, right? The exceptions, right? Gobert and Wemby, the two guys who, like, by the time they finish, like, their contest percentage, their defensive player of the year award numbers are just going to look ridiculous. Gobert has a 7'8" wingspan at 7 foot, and Wemby has an 8 foot wingspan at 7'4". Like, that tells you all you need to know. Like, wingspan and length gets you so far, right? And then you add in the fact that, like, Wemby is agile, like, mobile. Like basically has like a Mobley, young AD level mobility with more length than Gobert does. And Gobert by himself is already like a 4-time defensive player of the year. Like that. Yeah. That's really the reason for the success. Like goes to show like just how much like size and unique athletic ability gives you. And then add in the fact that he's skilled, like sky's the limit.
Right, it's just the way he uses his length, because like we've seen the Bol of the world and all that, and Shaq said that he's just another one of those. No, that's absolutely ridiculous, because for a guy to, like I said, move the way he does and be as agile, I mean, he's doing reverse dunks at 7'7". That's you're not supposed to do that. Like I don't know, he was made in a lab or something. His genes need to be studied.
He's a freak.
I was watching him against Toronto the other night, and it's still so fascinating to me. He's out there trying stuff. Like, he still doesn't really know exactly what he's going to do on a possession basis. He doesn't even know that yet. He's 21 years old, and he's just trying things out on all-world defensive guys, and it's working. They can't contest him. He's putting the ball on the floor. Again, you alluded to it, Tom, that play against Dallas. He blocks the shot, comes down. It's tween, double behind the back, step back, and 1-3. Like, a guy his size should not be able to do that.
No.
And what he does on the other end, it's like, it's the Anthony Davis like philosophy all those years. It's like, AD is this great defensive player and he's inconsistent offensively, right? But how much do we value defense because it's an offensive league? But if AD's that great defensively, he's up there within those guys because his production just happens to be on the other end. If Wemby's averaging 31 right now, he's going to be amongst the league leaders in scoring and be by far the greatest defensive player in the league today and maybe ever. What do you do with that? That's why the sky really is the limit. And he doesn't even know what his limit is yet, which is terrifying.
Yeah, and I think an underrated part of his game, like people that size and centers that size, like they want to block everything. But I think a very underrated part of his game is his timing, and he knows what he can go get and what not to jump at all, to stay out of foul trouble, to not get himself out of position so other guys got to rotate now and they got to swing help side and he got to run all the way back. I think that's a very underrated part of his game, that obviously the block numbers are stupid. Like, they're crazy. But there are times where he's running off a pick and roll and the big will get it. And instead of just like jumping immediately, he just stands there. He doesn't even do anything. He runs. He's running off the pick and roll. He's playing drop, but he's playing up on the screen, and he just stands there. Then if the ball rotates and somebody gets beat, now here comes Wemby. Now what do you do? It's the kid's a freak, bro.
Yeah, I think part of that is like when you're that tall, you're probably, all his coaches growing up are probably telling him, why are you jumping?
Don't jump.
Don't jump. Just put your hands up. No one's going to be able to. And he just mastered it, because we see his mentality too. Like, that's a whole other different aspect of his game. Like, this is a guy who is in bed by like 10 p.m. every night as a 21, 22 year old.
Reads before bed. Like, right. Come on, bro. Like,
he's in the NBA, 21, 22 years old. Like, and he hasn't so far, thankfully, let the lifestyle get to him either. Like, he's completely locked in on being the greatest form of himself that he can be.
Spurs to the conference finals.
I mean, when you have a guy that's a top 5 player, can play like the best player in the world, it's certainly not out of the cards.
To the conference finals doesn't sound too crazy anymore now, does it?
It does. I mean, they're 4-0.
I think it's most important. He's doing all of this without Fox. They traded for Fox to get him that point guard that he can pair with in the pick and roll and all of that.
Yeah.
Fox hasn't played yet.
You could put any guard in that pick and roll, bro. Honestly,
he's doing with his rookie guard, who looks great in Dylan Harper, but like, who knows what this iteration of this team looks like even midway through this year when they get Fox back healthy. So the hardest thing to do in this league is get you one of those guys. After that, your job should be way easier, unless you're Rob Pelinka, who can't build a team. You're the best doing the league for all these years.
True.
But unless you're Rob Pelinka, if you get one of those guys, the hard part is done. Now you just got to get it surrounded with 3-and-D wings like every team needs. He's already locked up the paint. Give him a guard that can dribble off of a pick and roll. And I mean, you got the guy coaching under the pop tree. He'll be fine. Like, San Antonio, I cannot believe how they went from the era that they were in, and right as that faded out, you
now
and they get saved by Wemby, as if they didn't have enough success over the last 2 decades.
Like, the basketball gods just love the Spurs.
It's
bro.
unbelievable. They've had the most, like, in the last 20 years, their longevity of success is the best of any team. They never went back to back. They won 5 titles over the course of 15 years. Like, it's now
team,
it's been remarkable.
Yeah, it's and the last thing I'll say is, like, when he's averaging 30 like this and he's just gonna rack up defensive player of the years, like, that'll give him time to hone in on the small things, like the decision making out of the pick and roll. Once he gets that great guard, like, you don't need to put him with a Luka or a Bron. You get Fox at all fringe all-star level, whatever you want to call him. Like, he'll be able to hone in on the little things too and become potentially as close to a perfect player as we've ever seen. Like, that really is
there's sometimes where he's turnover prone and it's a little boneheaded, like, why'd you throw that? But like, I think once he cleans that up, I think it's more of a chemistry thing than like that's a bad pass, I shouldn't have thrown that type thing. But sometimes he does have boneheaded turnovers, which I think comes with it. Like, again, he's 21 years old. He's going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, we're a little under an hour here. Did anyone have any other ones that they were like debating on throwing in there, and they went with another one?
Yeah, I had another one. I don't think Cooper Flagg is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, I was going to say Cooper Flagg was a bust, but that might have been too far. But I like that. That's a good overreaction without getting crazy. Yeah.
This VJ Edgecombe kid, bro, is like, he's literally, as crazy as it sounds, he's low key exactly like Tyrese Maxey. Just kind of he's not that good of a shooter yet. Obviously, like, that'll come, but like the decision making, the burst of speed off the screens, the ability to get down. The kid's an insane athlete. The ability to get down the floor, like, once he starts, again, how we were talking about Wemby, once he starts understanding the little things, once he starts understanding like how to baseline cut, when to cut off a wing, when they're running actions without you, where do you go? Once he started understanding those, and Dylan Harper too. Like, Dylan Harper is impressing the hell out of me. I already knew what the kid was going to be, but it's looking even better. Like, those two could very much steal the Rookie of the Year from Cooper Flagg, and I wouldn't bat an eye. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I'd be like, oh yeah, he won. Cool. I figured that.
VJ wouldn't surprise me. Dylan Harper would. I feel like that's just
playing next to Wemby is kind of. I think it's too crowded a team.
Like, you know, he's got Castle there. You know, like, he's there, Vassal's there. Like, there's just too many mouths to feed in San Antonio for him to win. VJ has really impressed me. An underrated thing, which I think, like I've said before, I think this is all possible. Like, I feel like most of this is possible because, like, it was a blessing in disguise to not have to start the season trying to figure out how to run Maxey, McCain, with Jared McCain, and VJ. Like, you can literally just have him go out there and do his thing. And even Embiid, like, being on a minutes restriction helps them a lot. Because it's like, okay, we're not obligated to figure out how to work a 3-guard lineup. We're not obligated to figure out to make sure that we get Joel the ball. He's only going to be on the floor for 20 minutes. I don't have a problem giving Joel the ball for 20 minutes. Like, pick and roll, like, that's easy stuff. The rest of the game, we're doing our own thing. And you've seen just how electric Maxey, VJ, and Grimes look. They're running. Like, they're running. They're moving the ball well. Like, they look like a completely different team when Embiid is on the floor, like, for those 20 minutes versus when they have Bona on the floor and they're just, like, running. Like, they don't have to worry about none of that. Like, all these dead weights, like, I hate to call them dead weights, but that's really what it is. Like, it's just, that's really what they are. Like, no Embiid, no Paul George, no Jared McCain. Yeah, you don't have 3 of your best, quote unquote, best players, but you also don't have your question. You don't have your problems. You don't have your questions. You don't have media badgering you every day talking about, well, how are we going to get Paul George's touches? How are you going to figure out how to get Embiid back to MVP level? You can just focus strictly on the X's and O's and the basketball and just getting things going. Maxey, he has a good reputation for starting the season well. This is probably the best I've seen him start. You know, He really looks poised, really looks under control. He looks more and more like a point guard every year, which was something that a lot of people felt he couldn't do. Which is why they got Harden and what they questioned if he was going to be able to do after Harden left. He looks more like a floor general and a leader. And to your point, I would say VJ looks a lot like Maxey. I always said that VJ's comp for me was like Victor Oladipo. I feel like he just looks a lot like indie Victor Oladipo to me, like just as far as like being a secondary ball handler, like using his ability to get to the rim really to his advantage, which is funny because, you know, in college, VJ was supposedly not a good finisher. And that was one of the things that they questioned. I think he had a terrible percentage at the rim in college at Baylor. And now coming into the NBA, that's not a problem. So, like, you know, really good overall.
To put a button on that point, you talk about we don't think Cooper Flagg is Rookie of the Year and all that. It hasn't looked good in Dallas. Dallas right now, they have the worst offense in the league. Are we surprised by that? Probably not, because we knew the question mark was offensive creation. Like, Cooper Flagg, they're starting him at point guard. That's hard. I know they have D'Angelo Russell. I mean, he had a 1-2-3 game the other night. I mean, it's like, this is what you're going to get. Then he had an 8, 9, 10 game last night, but then he had a 24. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You don't know what you're getting from him. Yeah. I think it's a lot to ask of Cooper to man a whole offense when there's not much around him on that end. And again, Philly right now has the best offense in the whole NBA. That's Tyrese Maxey, that's VJ Edgecombe, and that's Kelly Oubre. I mean, Embiid has been in and out, and then Paul George is not even back yet. So super like niche stats to start the year, but they say a lot of where we're at. And the two rookies, to be honest, have a lot to do with both of those. Cooper, as a rookie, most of these guys, especially when the ball's in their hands, they're going to be inefficient. They're going to turn the ball over. I'm going to give him some grace. He kind of fell into a spot. We talked about it. I'm the number one pick. I'm on a team. They traded Luka. They were just in the finals. There's so much that still needs to be figured out in Dallas with how they're going to play and leverage that roster, because that roster is like, they have this insane front court. Again, they don't have the offensive creation. That's a lot on Cooper. And I mean, as far as VJ, a guy comes in, I think he had the most points as a rookie in their debut since Wilt. Like, 35. That's insane. And he's kept it going. Credit to him. It should be. I think it's going to be closer than people think as the year goes on between VJ, Coop, and Dylan Harper too. Although, because Castle won it last year, I don't know how it would be. We're winning 2 Rookie of the Years from the same squad back to back. That would be something though, and would speak to their youth movement in San Antonio. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think the expectations of Cooper Flagg were to be at minimum a top 30, 40 player in the league, like day one when he stepped on the floor. So obviously the expectations were super high, and that causes you to be disappointed by him, but also to overlook the other guys in the draft class. So they're all off to fantastic starts too. I think they could totally make it.
Like, my overreaction isn't a Cooper Flagg problem. Right. It's more like a VJ Edgecombe is playing out of his fucking mind.
Right. And it's interesting you say like they're playing Cooper at point guard. It's almost like Jason Kidd's trying to figure out where his spot is in the offense, which I guess you do have to figure that out as you go along.
I think they're trying to figure out where to put him when Kyrie gets back. Like, I think obviously because Kyrie's going to be the starting point guard. Right. I think they're trying to figure out what he's best at, so to speak. Like how he can run next to AD and Lively, who aren't the best of shooters, especially Lively. Yeah. It's kind of hard because Coop's like he doesn't really excel at anything. He's just good at everything.
He's LeBron.
Like nothing jumps off the page at him. Like, he's not a crazy, like, he's freakishly athletic and he's great around the rim, a good decision maker. His IQ is really high for a guy his age. Yeah. But like he's good at everything. But he doesn't excel at one thing. So that's where they know where we can use him.
They don't want to pigeonhole him into being just an off-ball player, even though technically that is what they need. We have to point out what's making Cooper's job significantly harder is the fact that Klay Thompson cannot buy one. Like, that is like a significant issue. Like, it's very hard for somebody like Cooper, whose like strength is definitely getting to the rim, a budding shooter, a budding ball handler, really good passer. Ball handling is better than people think, but still not crazy where he should be having the ball for dumb long. And like, when your most reliable like catch and shoot option cannot buy one at
especially all. It being Klay Thompson is like
like that
you of all really people can't make a shot.
Yeah, and then you already know AD's not a shooter, and you already know your centers are not a shooter. So you have basically 3 people looking for the same thing, and your shooter cannot open the floor. Like that hurts them a lot. I ultimately, like, now I kind of already thought it. I definitely think they're gonna have to, like, they were trying to last year. They couldn't really find a real trade partner for Gafford. They're gonna have to explore that again, just to get like somebody in the wing. Like, I know they have a lot of wings, but somebody in like a combo guard wing role that can kind of like open up the floor while also be like a secondary creator that can work next to Kyrie when he returns. They got to figure something out. They can't just leave it exactly the way it is.
Yeah, Quentin Grimes was good at that. They should look into that guy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Traded him, and then he
ironically, that's exactly who they needed. Like guys like that that's honestly what they need to be looking for right now.
I don't think nobody's gonna want Daniel Gafford because I feel like he's always hurt. And I don't think teams want that baggage personally.
Definitely.
Well, obviously somebody's gonna give it to him. Like obviously somebody's gonna pay Daniel Gafford if he does hit the market.
I was gonna say I think he's in a contract year, right?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean,
Gafford signed. He signed a 3-year, $54 million extension with Dallas.
Yeah.
It's set to begin in 26-27. The thing about Gafford and guys like him and Lively, they next to Luka look phenomenal.
True.
Yep.
And when those guys aren't playing off of a transcendent guy like him, things look a little bit differently. When you have a logjam in the front court with AD, who's also like, wait, where's my pick and roll partner? And that's a lot to ask on Cooper as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of questions in Dallas. I just want to go to the other conference real quick and raise this to the group, because coming into the year, we knew who the top 2 for the most part would be in the East. But we talked a lot about Atlanta, Orlando, and Detroit, and they've all had rough starts to the season. So did we overrate the Hawks, the Magic, and the Pistons?
I would say no.
I think in terms of Detroit, low key, because of I expect Cade and Duren to take another. I expected Cade to take another jump. I didn't expect him to regress at all. Like he looks objectively worse than last year, and I can kind of point to roster construction. Like he doesn't have a lot to work with, and sometimes it is just his play. Like he's also very turnover prone at times. Atlanta, not really, because they got Porzingis, and I know Porzingis isn't gonna play 82 games.
He's already missed a game, and so did Jalen Johnson.
And I know him and Jalen Johnson aren't gonna be if it's gonna be him and Dyson Daniels and Onyeka Okongwu running the show again. I wasn't that high on Atlanta to begin with. Orlando, low key shocked me. Those boys still can't throw a ball in the backside of a bar.
It's hard to put a lot on one guy. Like we put a lot on Bane coming into the year, saying about the 3-point volume, and it's just. And I know Banchero's had a rough start to the year too. Franz has looked like their best player. I think those teams will eventually get on track because the East is just so bad. But it has been shocking to see all 3 of those teams that we thought would be in that 3 through 5 above the play-in line for sure have really rough starts to the year, coming in with high expectations.
Yeah, I think with Orlando, we overlooked a little bit. Like Jamal Mosley's just not an offense guy. Like they've consistently been one of the worst offenses in the NBA. And I agree the personnel has not been there for him. And that's definitely a front office thing too. Like they just haven't done a good job. And again, KCP signed last year, was supposed to increase the 3-point shooting, and he just didn't. He was just absolutely terrible.
Yes.
With Paolo, I think it's still like he just still takes a lot of tough shots. And maybe again, he has to get more acclimated to the changes, and he'll see that the offense is better than it was last year. He doesn't need to do all that, but I mean, he's still at least an all-star level player. So like, if he can get back to what we expect from him, and then eventually take that leap we all are anticipating, then I think that's still in the cards. But yeah, it's been a rough start for them.
I'm usually more of like a traditionalist. When I look at like roster construction, when you're building a contender, I like to think that certain play styles at certain positions tend to gel better than others. I think that all of these teams kind of have like a difficult play style symmetry with your crucial players, where it's hard to put together. When you look at Atlanta, like they're reliant on like a highly effective pick and roll game. And that's very, very hard to do when your point guard he's a really, really good passer. I would say I would arguably say that he's one of the best passers, if not the best passer in the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in the pick and roll. Like all the other stuff is like different, but as a pick and roll operator, I would say he probably is one of, if not the best pick and roll operator in the NBA. But when you don't have your roller,
Austin Reeves has something to say about that.
I knew Austin Reeves. Luka LeBron was coming.
He's the most efficient pick and roll player in the league. I'm just saying, no, but go ahead.
But I would say like when you don't have like an effect, like your roller is not like this dominant player that can like really like an aggressive, physical, reliable in terms of health player. It limits your effectiveness. Like you went to the conference finals with John Collins. What was John Collins? He's not a stud, not a superstar, but he was available. He was athletic. He was aggressive. And they had a very effective pick and roll game with it. Same thing with Capella at that time. Capella's not a superstar, but you get like John Collins is getting 20 points per game off pick and roll, and Capella's getting 15. You just know they're going to be there. They played a lot together. So if Kristaps is not there, then it's just Okongwu and Jalen Johnson. And Jalen Johnson and Okongwu, physical, compete. It's not the same. Trying
Jalen
to execute
Johnson's a good
consistent
basketball player, though.
He's a really good basketball player.
I love him.
It's
He's
a
one of my
lot
favorite players.
It's a lot of
just,
intangibles that he
lacked. Yeah. You know, it's just hard to do that. And so basically, like you said, you're just looking at the same Hawks from last year. These are teams like the Hawks and Pistons were teams that we thought would have a high ceiling because of what we thought Kristaps could do when he plays and what we thought the Pistons could build off of based on how well they competed against the Knicks. But for the Pistons in particular, like my projections for them were capped because you didn't add anybody. You lost. You lost shooters. You knew that shooting was basically why you overachieved in the first place. You had Beasley.
You gotta have shooters.
You had Beasley. You had Tobias shooting well. Like you got by with two people not being able to shoot because you had the guy who had the second most threes in the NBA, and you replaced him with only Duncan. Like that's not, you can't like.
The thing about Detroit though, we came in with the notion of Duren and Cade are going to be better, like it was internal with them. With a team like Orlando, it was like, well, they added Bane. With Atlanta, they added Porzingis, they added Alexander Walker. They were effectively adding Jalen Johnson because he missed most of last year. So it's like they have this influx of talent both internally and externally. And then obviously we know who Trey is and what he's done. He's been able to backpack a team to some pretty significant runs. So like to have all three of those teams for different reasons kind of fall early, I'm looking to see how they respond. And I'm talking about quickly, not in long term. They have to figure this out now because some people had Atlanta being in the conference finals. Same for Orlando. You brought up Jamal Mosley and his offense, but he's been known to have one of the best defenses in the league. And right now they're ranked 15th. I think they gave
up 138 to Philly yesterday. I think with no Joel Embiid, no Paul George.
And again, we're really early. The sample sizes are small, but it is something to definitely look at because that's been their calling card. Because if they're not going to be able to score, you better get stops. They've won getting stops in the regular season, and I thought they were for sure going to be a smash over the 50 win barrier. I'm not sure about that right now. And Detroit. Cade has really disappointed me to start this year and for my fantasy team as well.
I feel like for Orlando and for Detroit is going to need to add somebody. And I think Orlando is going to need to move somebody. I've never been the biggest believer in Franz and Paolo's fit. I feel like, do they have different skill sets? Yes, different levels of skills at different levels of things, but they cover the same thing. They literally cover the exact same criteria. Neither of them is I'm going to commit 60% of my energy to defense, where you could say, okay, this is the defensive calling card guy and this is the offensive calling card guy. They both prefer to go to offense. They both like to get to the rim. They both live with an in-between game to settle back on. Paolo's a little bit better at it than Franz is, but Franz is more efficient at it and probably better at like just higher IQ reads more consistently throughout the game. Neither of them are shooting threes at a high clip. Like, it's hard to build a team when your two best players do the exact same thing. So I've always felt like at some point in time, they're going to have to split it. They kind of made it work when they extended both of them, but I never really believed long-term that I always felt like that was something that was not going to work. As far as Detroit,
oh, my bad. Go ahead.
They got to. I was saying just simple. As far as Detroit, I feel like they just got to add somebody. It's too much for Cade. Like that's why. Like, honestly, I'm not even going to grade anything on Detroit until Ivy comes back. Like, if they still have this issue when Ivy comes back, then I'll really be critical. But right now, Detroit is like asterisk. Like, let me see what happens when you have Ivy, because that's really like, forget Duren. Like, we definitely predicted a Duren leap, but it was more like a Cade, Ivy, Duren. Like, can we go with this?
Sure.
Right. So I need to see that.
That's true. Magic kind of planted their flag. Like these, we know who our core is. Detroit's still kind of figuring out. So that's a great point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, which is why my X factor when we did him last episode was Desmond Bane, because I thought he was like, he's trying. Obviously, it's only so much Desmond Bane can do. I thought he was gonna make Franz and Paolo's like offensive sets look easier, but instead of like, which is what Tom's point, Jamal Mosley's not an offensive guy. They got Desmond Bane running guard-to-guard screens with Anthony Black, and then he's coming off that screen and running pick and rolls with Wendell Carter Jr. Like Franz and Paolo aren't even in some of the action sometimes, and when those don't work, here go Franz, 6 seconds left, make something work, hit a crazy shot, throw a grenade to somebody or something. You see what I'm saying? And it's like I thought it was gonna look easier. Granted, it is a small sample size. Like it's a real overreaction to a overreaction kind of.
For the Magic,
I thought it was gonna be easier.
The one thing, if I'm the Magic, I'm looking at like the positives thus far. Jalen Suggs and De Silva. Suggs is shooting 60% from three. Obviously, that won't hold, but they got Suggs back, and he's healthy now.
Yes.
De Silva was a guy who I remember in the draft, he was around the same spot as Connect, and I was like, go get De Silva. De Silva went, and then they ended up going to Dalton, who, my goodness, he has not hit the broadside of a barn in about 10 months.
Which is crazy, because when y'all drafted Connect, I was like, this is the best pick in the draft.
Yes.
It was the consensus, like this was the steal of the draft, and like I was like, oh yeah, we did that, and he peaked early on, and he had like a 37-point game against Phoenix. I remember beginning of last year, and it was people don't even like it was even before the trade got rescinded and all that weird stuff happened. He was like starting to fall off even before that, and then obviously the mental part of everything coming back to a team that just traded you. I understand that you have to give grace. It's a young player. Right. But the problem is he's not that young. And that's also why he didn't go in the top 8 to 10 that people thought he would, because the NBA hates guys that are older rookies. They just hate it. It's a thing. They think they're closer to a finished product. And it's really like it's hurt LA to have that kind of pick. They didn't trade it. They drafted a guy. And it kind of fall off so quickly. I think it's a foregone conclusion that he gets traded in season, honestly, for the Lakers. But yeah, if I'm Orlando, I don't know how we got to LA. Oh yeah, De Silva. So that's two positives that I'm looking at for Orlando. And I've always liked Wendell Carter's game. He's an undersized, 5, but it's always seemingly worked. Goga, there's still question marks there with his availability. So I think all three of those teams, there's a lot of time for them to turn things around, despite a pretty underwhelming start.
All right. I think we got a lot of good stuff out there. All right, boys. So that's going to wrap it up. This was fun. Hopefully I'll get to come back. Hopefully I'm allowed back on one of these, but it was a lot of fun.
Pending review.
As long as you don't bring the glasses guy back, you can come whenever you want, bro.
The glasses guy? Wow.
Oh, wait, you are a glasses guy. The other glasses guy.
The other glasses guy? Yeah, he sucks. We don't like him. All right. That was episode 3 of Run the Floor. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram. We just launched a new Instagram page specifically for this podcast. With that, run it.
Let's run it.
Run it.
Right.
I like that, bro. I love that. I love that.